So we're live now. Don't say anything that would have Homeland Security knocking on my door.
Hey, what happened to freedom of speech?
Can you also post this on your social media and stuff?
Okay.
I'm feeling too lazy to do that.
What do you mean? What's wrong with you? Okay. Yep.
Mhm. So yeah, I'm just gonna. I mean, I don't really even like do social media anymore, so I don't know if I don't have like I guess a
Yeah,
lot of places where I want to post them.
yeah, me
Let me
neither.
just
So I'm
put my
just gonna do
headphones
it.
on. My AirPods are not working today for some reason. Ouch. Um.
Okay. One second. Oh, Syawish, I got a good idea. Instead of doing it on your social media, you do it on your YouTube community page. Yeah. Did you hear that? I can't hear you. Oh. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hey, listen. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot. On
Hmm.
Twitter, it doesn't allow you. Does it allow you or it doesn't allow you?
It does allow you. We talked about it last time as
We
well.
did. We did. I faintly
Yeah.
remember. Let me see. But
Hmm.
look, I just did it right now. It just posts the general link of YouTube, but not. Yeah, it's just a general link of YouTube.
What you should do is you should
I'll do
go
it from
from
YouTube. Just share.
yeah from YouTube. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That you should do it like that.
Okay. But you should post on your YouTube community.
Um, I'll do that now. Mhm.
Hello, guys. Hello, Muazzam. Hello,
Hel-
Sulaiman.
So
Well, salam
can you
alaikum.
do an Indian accent then? Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Hello, guys. Hello. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Tarek, we need a
I
Q&A for 100K. I know. I just got kind of caught up at the time with certain life things. So I completely missed the boat on that. But in other news, where are you from on Gopotsi Sikola? I got absolutely zero idea.
It
Where are you
sounds
from?
Indonesian. Or,
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds a little bit Polynesian. That's the only
mhm.
thing I can say. Polynesian or like I want to say Central African, but I don't know why. No,
Could also be Central Africa. Yeah, okay, sorry for assuming.
don't do that.
South
What's wrong with
Africa.
you?
The dude's from South Africa.
Okay, what do you mean sorry for assuming? Why are you saying sorry for assuming?
Actually, this guy owes us an apology for Elon Musk. These guys produced Elon Musk.
Oh, so that certificate? They also produced apartheid as well, to be fair.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a big one as well. Well, but you know, the apartheid. Everybody did stuff like that, so it's not a big deal. But not everybody produced Elon Musk, so they definitely owe us an apology there.
I'll tell you something that South Africa did, which no other country has ever done.
Oh,
Uh,
Charlize Theron.
the actress? What about her?
She's also from South Africa.
Right, but what relevance does that have with what I'm talking about? Anyway,
You were just okay.
okay, let's just move on. They gave up nuclear weapons.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wait, they had nuclear weapons. Who gave them nuclear weapons?
I don't know if they had nuclear weapons, but they would develop. They had a nuclear development program. I need to do a little bit more research into that, so I don't know if that was for the purpose of nuclear energy or actual weapons. But yeah,
Mhm.
they dismantled the whole program just before apartheid ended.
I guess that Iran kind of did the same thing with the Iran nuclear deal, right?
Apparently,
Mm, yeah. South Africa. I mean, I don't. It's I don't know who are they like fighting that they would need nuclear weapons.
no. So it wasn't. It was the apartheid government
Mm,
that developed it, and the apartheid government was. I mean, slowly over time, it became incredibly unpopular around the world. Funnily
mm.
enough, Israel was a very, very big supporter of apartheid South Africa.
Yeah, it's like the kids say, game recognizes game.
Game recognized game, real
Mm,
recognized real.
yeah. Same with the Germany. Like Germany always stands behind Israel because they're both very good at genocides and stuff. Uh,
No, but I feel like Germany's doing it from an overcompensation place. Like, hey, sorry about what happened 70 years
mm, a
ago.
part of that is that because yeah,
Oh, a
Germany
big
is
part, a big part. Come
yeah,
on, let's be honest.
but
Let's
there's
be
also but there's also the fact that all Westerners stand behind Israel because Israel is generally
yeah,
their
yeah,
sort of colonial baby. So there's also that. But yeah, that overcompensation part that is definitely true.
100%,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah.
100%. Okay,
But like I posted something like that on Twitter as well. That if some kid came in and he, you know, outshined me in something that I'm very good, I'm um, very like known around the world for. Like Germany is known for Holocausts, and some new kid came around who
yeah,
did outshine me in that field. I would
yeah.
not support him like Germany supports Israel. I would be very jealous. But Germany is it's
Yeah,
admirable.
but that's only because Germany, it seems like on the surface, they're pretty, it's not even embarrassed. They seem pretty ashamed of what they did 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah,
So, yeah. And you're being quite
yeah, true.
stereotypical, if I may say so. It's quite insensitive. A person with your political leanings, I would imagine you wouldn't be so
Dude, no,
insensitive.
it's okay to be insensitive about like imperialist countries.
Really?
Yeah, you can say mad things about Germany or US. You can even be
Hey,
like
dude,
stereotypical about them.
that reminds me of something. Yeah, when I was in, I think I was doing my master's. Yeah, I was having this
Mhm.
conversation with somebody. It was a girl, and she was telling me. She said something to me. Honestly, it made me dizzy for the whole day. She said, "You can't be racist to white people."
Mm, okay, we're live, or I would have. Okay,
See,
exactly. The thing is that
I knew it. I knew it. You agree with that statement, don't you?
there's two in general. Like I don't mean to come off as like Andrew Tate or something, but there's like large groups of people that you can today generalize. You can be like bigoted towards that's white people and men. These are like the two big groups that you can stereotype, you can generalize, you can be bigoted towards, and that's
Wait,
totally
you
fine.
should be able to, or it's just a reflection of reality. That's
It's
what.
just a reflection of reality that you
Okay,
can
okay,
do
okay.
this, which honestly at this point I think is a big problem,
Okay, good,
because it's
good.
starting to sort of create resentment in both white people and men,
And
and
also, can we understand that it's very natural that it will create that resentment amongst
yeah,
white people
exactly.
and men,
E-
which is why
exactly.
it's a ridiculous statement to make in the first place. Like I understand what she was saying. Um, Power is an inherent element of racist dynamics. If you are a powerful group, you are the one that's dishing out racism to the rest of the world. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a little harder to be racist against you, blah, 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 all of that. But don't say you can't be racist to white people. That doesn't make any sense logically.
Yeah,
Of course you can.
yeah, and also it's sort of uh, mono turns white people into a monolith. Same with like men. If we like generalize this discussion to both men and white people,
Mm,
there are, of course, the world is controlled by white people. They're doing all these awful things, but
mm.
a general white person, who works at a like a dock or something, and
Yeah,
who doesn't control the world, when he hears us say, "Oh, white people control everything," he's
mm.
like, I don't do anything. But then that sort of creates a sense of resentment in them, which is at this point it's starting to become terrible. It's starting to cause with white people, it's starting to cause like racial issues, and with men, it's starting to cause like tension between genders. Um, so at this point, I think we should like sort of not do it anymore. uh but yeah, I don't see people, because liberals, they're always going to be standing with, oh, you can be racist to white people and you can be sexist to men, that's totally fine. So
which
I
is
don't see it
ridiculous. But okay,
resolving
let's
at the
move
moment.
on. So Syawish, I know you're not big into planning and structure and organization. So I've taken the liberty to come up with a few topics that we can
We talked
discuss.
about it. Uh-huh.
Thank you. I've done your work for you. So first of all, let's discuss what's on everybody's mind. What's going on in the Middle East at the moment? You got any thoughts, historical, political, altruistic, anything? What's going on?
Dude, the only thought that I have is that Israel should be completely destroyed. um
Wow.
that's just like there's no room to give there. It's an illegitimate state. It's an ethno state. It's a terrorist state. It's also like a apartheid state. So it definitely needs to be destroyed. That's pretty much all that I have on that. Like, what about, like, somebody in the comments is also saying, if Iran and Israel go to war, what will happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think likely what will happen is that the U.S. will get involved in the war, and the whole West will be involved in the war, and then they'll start all railing on Iran together, and so yeah, it'll be like that. But in
Hold on.
general,
So does that mean you don't if you think Israel should be destroyed, does that mean you don't agree with the two-state solution?
no, I don't agree with the two-state solution. There's only room for one state.
Interesting.
The
And you think that one
two-state solution is ridiculous. It's
why?
morally wrong. It's
Talk to me.
ethically wrong.
Talk to me. Why?
Because there's no 100 years ago there was only one state. It
Right.
wasn't exactly a state, but there was only one, like, one group of people who dominated this. Somebody
Sure.
comes into your house and somebody takes over one of your bedrooms, and
Mm.
then, just because you can't expel them doesn't mean that you accept the fact that they've taken over, and you just, give them their own address, and you're like, oh, this is your house now. Even if you can't do that, even if you can't do that, you should not do that. And in a two-state solution, like, look at it practically, what's going to happen is that it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, we have kind of two states now, and one state is being sponsored by West and its imperialist ambitions, and the other state is um, alone, essentially.
Mm.
And this is what would it look like if it was like actual two-state solution. We would have Palestine would be bigger, but it would have pretty much the same thing, similar structure, similar everything. So the two-state solution is not. It's not something that we can at least accept.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. I want to unpackage that. I didn't know that that was your viewpoint. Um. Okay, but then what would you do? So obviously, when it comes to politics, there's the idealism and then there's realism, right? So what you just said right there is probably your idealistic desire of, in an ideal world, that's what you would want to happen. But obviously, we live in reality. Israel is a reality. The last 80 years is a reality. There are generations that have been born and raised in Israel of Israelis. So then what would happen to those people, to those Israelis?
Yeah, I'm not saying that's where people, I think, take it wrong. I personally am of the opinion that if you're born in a country, or at least if you grew up in a country,
Mm,
um, then you belong to that country, or that country belongs to you.
okay.
So I'm not saying that all these Jews who have been born in Israel, who have lived in Israel all their lives, whose parents were born in Israel, should be kicked out.
Mhm.
But it should be a single state. It should be a people can live together, especially Jews and Muslims, especially Arab speakers and Hebrew speakers. These are people who can live together. who have lived together for so long. This is a no brainer in that category. And what you can have is you can have a simple country with two major populations, similar to Lebanon, for example. And it's not a like people are treating this problem as sort of it's unique, um, unique because Jerusalem is holy to all these religions, but it doesn't actually change the fact that this is just a dispute over land, and that's the main thing. And the West especially is treating it like, oh, this is a war of religions, this is a war of civilizations. It's not. It's just a dispute over land. And these Jews who were born here, they should stay there. It's their country as well. And you know we continue on from there.
Okay.
But all those Jewish people who have come to Israel,
Mm-hmm.
um, because because Israel has this program where if you can prove Jewish lineage, then
Yeah.
you can become Israeli
Right to
citizen.
reside.
Yeah, all those guys, they need to be kicked out because they're Zionists and shits. They need to be kicked out. But people who were born there, certainly, it's their country too.
So then, what do you think about the notion of having a Jewish homeland? Do you disagree with that from its very essence, or do you think there is room for that to be a reality?
A Jewish homeland.
Yeah.
Sure, let's build one near Texas.
Okay, so you're open to it, just not in Philistine.
I mean, I don't think that in this day and age a Jewish homeland is actually like needed. But if they want to build one, then if a country voluntarily gives up, you know what? Let's give them East Germany because I hate East Germany. What we
Yeah.
should do is we should like kick all those people to Poland,
Yeah.
make it their problem, East
Uh,
Germans, and then just give it to Israel.
okay. Okay. All right. I think this is my last question on this issue. So, what I said earlier about the whole idealism and realism thing, yeah. As part of realism, strength, power is a very important, is the most important dynamic within realism. Really, power. The Israelis, at least from their military forces side of things, they're very powerful. Um, so how would you, if you were in charge, how would you go about um, coming up with any sort of a solution? Because by this point, Israel is pretty entrenched in the region, right? They've expanded their territory. So is it even realistic for me? I guess what I'm trying to ask is it even realistic to pin your hopes on idealistic desires, or would it be better to kind of come to some sort of like a middle ground between idealism? Okay, I'm not a big fan of the idea of Israel, but they've got a really badass military, so that's going to be a big obstacle to my desires. What kind of middle ground do you think is there possible, or do you not think there's any need for a middle ground? Do you think eventually Israel will lose militarily?
I mean, I do believe that if Israel was isolated in the region, if the U.S. didn't support it, as if it wasn't U.S.'s sugar baby, then Israel would eventually like sort of start to lose steam.
Mm-hmm.
But like militarily, all these things, I agree that yeah, it's a big military. They have a powerful military. They have the support of the West. So you realistically cannot actually dissolve the state of Israel like that. But that's the thing. So yeah, that what I'm saying is idealistic. That you cannot actually accept that. Like, look, if you look at it from the perspective of the Palestinians, you simply cannot accept that somebody has come to your home and somebody's taken your home, and then you just got to put up with it. So yeah, militarily, of course, they're very powerful. And another thing about like one state solution, what you would end up having is you would have these parties that represent Arabs, and then you would have a political party in this one state that represents Jews. And realistically, if the U.S. is still the piece of shit that it is, it will end up influencing. Oh, let's support the Jewish party and put Jewish candidates in positions of power. Like that foreign influence is still a problem. Would still be a problem in this single state. That's what I'm saying. Dude, what are you doing? Is your PC connecting and disconnecting something?
Oh, sorry. Can you actually hear it as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Okay, my bad, my bad. Yeah. All right, interesting, interesting. Yeah, man. So, what I think about what's happening at the moment, first of all, I
Mhm.
think it's deplorable in terms of the effect it's having on civilian life. It's just really sad. I mean, this is going to sound really bad, but I'm kind of used to this death and destruction being forced upon Palestinians, which is really sad, right? It doesn't mean I accept it, but it's been happening for like 70, 80 years. It's, but especially because my channel does a lot of videos on modern Lebanese history. It's Lebanon is a very, very war torn country, man. Like it's modern history, like from basically from the 70s on, it's it's either been in a state of war or on the verge of a state of war, and it just seems like the country can't catch a break, so to speak. It's got huge, huge internal problems, like internal political problems, as well as economic problems as well with its currency and whatnot. And then for this to just be heaped on it, it's just sad, man. It's just real sad.
That it's not sad. Like, people are acting as if it's some sort of a natural disaster. It's like earthquake has struck Lebanon and there's nothing we could have done about it. This is aggression. This is exactly the thing that Hitler did in
Mm,
Europe. He claimed, "Oh, we got to take all this," and then he invaded Poland, and everybody um, was okay when Hitler was doing all these things in his country, and then he started to expand, and that's what Israel is doing, and this time the West is standing behind him, and I guess the same is true for Hitler if he didn't. But that's another point. So that's the thing, that this is aggression. This is simply aggression. We cannot say that, oh, this is something that keeps happening, and there's maybe, like, people say, oh, the Middle East has always been destabilized. Does that mean that, first of all, it's not, it hasn't always been destabilized. It has been some of the world, one of the world's, like, most peaceful regions for, like, it was like 300 years under the Ottomans. It was like from Salim's conquest to pretty much at the verge of Muhammad Ali Pasha's conquests. It was like pretty peaceful. And, like, people are,
mhm.
are acting like Middle East is some sort of it's always war torn. We cannot do anything about it. It's not. That's not the thing. You gotta stop Israel. You gotta stop sponsoring Israel's genocides. You gotta put a check to its power. First of all, we have the rest of the world has created um, an imbalance of a level that is just ridiculous. On the one side, you have these Palestinians who have nothing, and on the other side, you have these Israelis who, like, have an iron dome, right? And this is an imbalance that
Mm,
has been created by the West. And when you create an imbalance like that, and then you support Israel's, not many leaders openly talked about Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people. But then Iran hits it with like 1,200 missiles, and everybody's out now saying, "Oh no, Israel has a right to defend itself." That's the main problem. This is
mm.
entirely on Israel.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. But yes, it's still sad, regardless of if it's a natural disaster or man-made. It doesn't change the fact that it's sad. Um, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, like, in my opinion, this is pretty clear cut. Like, people keep saying, "Oh, this is that," but I think this is pretty clear cut.
Mm,
And, like, I often, like, I mean, you are in the U.S., right? I'm in Canada. We're sitting on land that was stolen from natives in pretty much the same way that Israel is doing now.
right.
That Israel has done. It was pretty much the same way. It was very barbaric, and all these things that were, like, recently. On October 1st, I believe, we had a Remembrance Day for the First Nations. And I was thinking that, we are having a Remembrance Day for them now in
Mm,
2024. When land was stolen from them, people acted as if, even today, a lot of, like, people would act like, oh, it was just the cost of progress. It was not a cost of progress. It was a cost of imperial ambition. These people were massacred in the thousands in such brutal fashions. And their land was stolen, and today we celebrate, well, not celebrate, but like observe a day of commemorance for them, while allowing the same thing to happen in other parts of the world. Like that's the thing. Similar to like Anne Frank and the Holocaust, we talk about the Holocaust, never forget, but then the West effectively sponsors a Holocaust in another part of the world.
But isn't that what happens throughout the course of human history, Syawish? As
Yeah,
a right, like
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Like with liberals,
By the way, including the Khilafas, right?
yeah. I have this problem with liberals the most, that every war in the past was very clear cut. There was a good guy, there was a bad guy, and it was bad, you know. But this war, whatever war is going on right now, it's nuanced. It
Wait,
has
which war? Which wars were very clear cut with a good guy and a bad guy? You mean all the
like
way back to the medieval period, or just in the
no
modern
no
period?
liberals look at wars in the past. Like I'm saying, the liberal perception is that every war in the past was clear cut,
Oh,
but it was good. It was like it was needed. It was
that sounds like
maybe you
culture.
can. Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
pretty clear cut. There was a good guy and a bad guy. But now today, every war has nuance. Oh, this war has nuance. But like the Iraq War, for example, the U.S. invaded it, and there was a lot of room for nuance at the time. Oh, there's this going on. There's this. Saddam Hussein is killing Shias and this and this. But then all of a sudden, now that the war is over, even I think even Joe Biden said that he didn't support it, even though he voted for it. That was a mistake. I think even Hillary Clinton has said that. And now that now it's a war that was bad, but at the time it was nuanced and it was good and all that. So that's the thing with liberals. Like that's sort of this hypocrisy um, that we have today in the world. Or I guess we've always had this hypocrisy in the world.
Mm,
And
yeah.
yeah, we should move
Yeah.
on to
Yeah.
some other topic because I get a little, yeah.
We get a little passionate about this. That's great, man. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, because this it's just, you know, it's just this sort of blatant hypocrisy and colonialism
Hmm.
that's not supposed to exist in today's world, you know. um this is just, yeah.
Wait, why wouldn't it exist? I don't understand.
Sorry.
The hypocrisy. What did you say shouldn't exist in this
I
world?
mean, there's the idea today that we're enlightened, right? Like
Mm.
we study history today. I mean, in the past, if you look at history, there was always my side is right, your side is bad, my side is angelic, and your side eats babies. But now today we sort of pay a nuance to things. We are also claiming that we're civilized, that war, we don't look at these things on, like human rights. We claim that equal rights exist. But then we, go out and do these kinds of same things. And these equal rights was not a thing in the past. Like, in the past, people would say, "Oh, my enemy is not a human; he's subhuman," and so that was just, how it was. But now today, we're supposed to have all these equal rights and all these things, and yet we continue doing stuff like this or supporting stuff like this.
Oh, right, right. My bad. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, we should move
Let's
on to
open it
another
up to the
topic.
chat. Any questions?
Yeah, this person is saying, "Oh, I love your profile picture, by the way. Liberals will always side with the right. That's true. They're always like they just want to think that they're doing good. That they just have this sort of a desire to be good without actually being good.
Mm,
So in that case, they will support, for example, LGBTQ plus stuff, because it's easy to support LGBTQ stuff, um, uh, because there's no nuance there. There's only you're homophobic or you're supporting them. There's no like middle ground. So it's easy to support them because it impacts white people and it impacts middle class. But when it comes to supporting causes that that are for people who are not white and people who are not middle class, yeah, okay, no, that's just liberals will not have a progressive view in that way.
yeah.
That's something that I really hate about liberals. Ugh, I hate liberals with a capital L more than I hate conservatives, actually.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So yeah, do you see any question you want to take?
Um, no, not yet. Let me see.
Okay, let me take this. Your example is very Western liberal. True. If you're talking about like Pakistani liberals, they have a similar problem. They're also, well, they're not. They don't have, I guess, a similar problem, but they have the exact opposite problem. Um, they think of themselves as sort of the moral elites.
Mhm.
They're like they think they were responsible for morality policing, so they're going to be offended every single thing. They don't have any room for anything that the general people need. They're sort of disconnected from the people. So that's, I think, Eastern liberals. Oh,
Mm,
especially like Pakistani and Indian and stuff.
mhm.
Okay, we should take another question because this is taking too long.
Okay. Okay. Another topic that I wanted to talk to you about, my next video, which is, are you okay?
Dude, you're not trying to like bait me into something, are you? Because you asked to do this live stream. You said that you have a couple of topics, and so
Mhm.
I feel like I'm being led to like slaughter or something.
Hell yeah, dude. You know what we're gonna talk about next? No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Um, no. Listen, listen. So my next video, which I'm uploading later today, is about Bengali independence, the Bengali
Hmm.
War of Independence, right? Liberation War. And whilst I was doing the research for that video, a bunch of different questions came to my head about the very nature of a Pakistani state, the very nature of the partition itself, whether a partition was good, whether it was, a bunch of different questions came in my head. But let's start off with, do you think the fact that West and East Pakistan eventually separated in 1971, do you think that undermined Jinnah's Muslim League's project of a Muslim homeland for Indians on the subcontinent?
I don't think that was the case. I
Wow.
think because if it happened without India in the middle, I
Mhm.
think then we would have had this. This would have definitely undermined the project because. But if you look at like Pakistan's
So
way
you're
of taking,
saying, sorry, because that's quite an important little statement you kind of threw out there. So you're saying that war essentially happened as a result of India interfering
no,
in
no,
that?
no, 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 no.
Oh,
I'm talking about the public's perception. That's what you're talking about, right? That in the public's mind, the project was undermined. Is that what you're
no, no,
saying,
no,
or
no,
is
no. I'm not talking about public perception, but that is quite interesting in and of itself too. No, I'm just talking like philosophically. Do you think it undermined that?
I mean, philosophically, if you like read the history, then yeah, it definitely undermined his project. But his project was very undermined from the beginning because his the whole project was not. Well, I wouldn't say that it was not supported by lower caste Muslims, but it was not like lower caste Muslims' opinions was not considered. They weren't voting, they weren't doing anything in that regard, and the whole of Congress was in prison at the time, so they couldn't like intervene in the whole thing. So I think the project was itself undermined from the very beginning. There were a lot of problems. The idea that Muslims and Hindus should have separate homelands, um, it had many obstacles from the very beginning that sort of um, undermined it
What were those
from like
obstacles?
um like I said, first of all, there was the fact that lower caste Muslims were not, their feelings, their opinions were not considered in the whole thing. But second, then you had nationalism. You had these people who were Punjabis not getting along well with the Pashtun, the Sikhs, the sorry, not the Sikhs, the Sindhis, and these guys not getting along with each other based on nationalities and languages rather than being able to get along based on religion. So
Mhm.
there were a lot of factors that played out almost immediately. um, the idea that these people should be united on the fact that they were a religion, they followed the same god, was supposed to turn them into one nation. It didn't do that even from the beginning, right? So that's sort of the thing. And the Bengali thing was, it was also partly based on that, partly based on nationalism. um, well, actually, it was actually quite a bit based on the fact that Punjabis and Bengalis didn't get along together very well. The whole election thing and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and the whole thing.
Well,
Um,
Punjabis damn near looked, not damn near, they straight up did well, not Punjabis, I shouldn't say that. The Punjabi civil bureaucracy elite, civil bureaucratic elites, they look down on the Bengalis. That was one of the most
Exactly.
alarming things. I was just talking to somebody
Yeah.
on the phone. I was telling them I couldn't believe how overt that straight up racism and discrimination was. Like
Hmm.
the president Ayub Khan, he wrote a supposedly an autobiography, but he probably dictated it. Somebody, friends, not masters, whilst he was president, by the way, in 66, 67 ish. And within that biographical account, he made very discriminatory remarks about Bengalis, how they were not a martial people, they were Muslims only superficially. They had been very
Hmm.
heavily politicized, I guess you could say. Um, I was shocked to read all of that.
Yeah, yeah, that was very on brand
Mm,
for the West Pakistani sort of
mm.
mindset at the time. So yeah, I think that the project was undermined from the very beginning. It was not equipped to have this sort of a large success in terms of that, right?
Yeah, and then another really shocking thing. Pakistani history in general is quite shocking, to be honest, because it's. I hope our Pakistani viewers and you specifically don't get too offended when I say this. It looks like they do things in a very sloppy way, politically speaking. I mean, like at the highest levels, they do things very sloppily. Did you know that Pakistan didn't have a constitution until about 8 years into its existence?
Yeah,
Dude, that
this
Dude,
one time.
if I was creating a nation, I would not proclaim independence until I've got a constitution. Or if I do, as soon as I proclaim that independence, I'm locking myself in a room for the next 3 weeks coming up with a constitution. 8 years?
Yeah. Yep. Pakistan was actually like a dominion of the British for
Yes.
like the first 8 years. And
Mm,
people don't know that. People don't know that. I was in third year of my university
yeah.
when we have a national holiday on the 23rd of March.
Okay.
And our professor made a joke that the kids today don't even know the day that it was, why we get the day off. And a student said, well, it's because there was a declaration of Pakistan in 1931, and that's reason we get the day off. But
Okay.
I said in class, I said that's not the reason that we get it. Is we get it because on 23rd of March 1956 we got our first constitution. Pakistan was officially declared.
Mm,
Nobody knew that, and everybody thought that I was high or something,
mm,
because people that don't know, Pakistanis don't know that that's when the country actually sort of became a country with a constitution. And then that constitution immediately went out the window, and then another came, and then we have the 73 constitution, or the 71st one, 1971 or 1973, the current constitution. And that constitution is honestly a piece of shit. It is
yeah.
one of the worst documents in human history. It's
Wow.
if my cat walked on a keyboard for 10 hours, it would make more sense than the Pakistani
Wow,
constitution.
that's a strong opinion. I stopped
Yeah.
my research at 72, 71, 72. So I don't know about that. Tell me, why is it so bad?
It's contradictory. It contradicts itself. I mean, I would have to get into a lot of details
Mm.
on that, but it's contradictory. It contradicts itself. It was heavily political. When you create a constitution, you're not.
Bhutto, right?
Sorry.
Zulfikar, 1973, that would have been Bhutto, right?
Yeah,
He constructed it? Okay.
yeah. That the constitution was brought in by him,
Mm.
and then it contradicts itself. It goes into the business of telling you who is and isn't Muslim, when that
Mm.
should not be the business of a constitution. The constitution should deal with who is and is not Pakistani, and what a Pakistani's rights and responsibilities are. Its law should be universal, but that's not what the document is. The document is very political. It's like if today, in today's world, you had Republicans and Democrats influencing the constitution and adding things that are political, like abortion, for example, is today a very political topic, and somebody added that into the constitution. So there's a lot of stuff like that in the constitution. It's a terrible document, honestly.
Mm.
It gives you the right, it gives the president the right to dissolve the assemblies, even though the president is nothing. The president is just a figurehead, and
Mm.
the assemblies are the elected official. I mean, in theory, they're the elected representatives of the government, of the people. It's just it's a ridiculous document overall.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it- yeah, it's just terrible.
Hmm.
Why are you interviewing me today?
Because you look a little low energy, and I want this conversation to be as focused as possible.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Okay.
do the job
Okay.
for you.
Okay, good. Because I was afraid. See. I feel like I'm being led to slaughter, and I'm just waiting for the knives to come out.
No, 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 no. I wouldn't do you like that. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay, go on. Come up with a question
when is your video coming out? The Bangladesh one today.
today. Yeah, in the
Today,
next.
I've got a video coming out today as well. I was actually just working on that.
Nice.
Um,
What is it?
it's about the death of the prophet. There are like these 11 sources that Stephen Shoemaker compiled that tell us that the prophet was there when Palestine was conquered in 634. So it's about that.
Oh, but officially he passed away in 632, right?
32, yeah.
Yeah.
In any case, like he passed away before the
Yeah.
conquests, but in these sources they tell us, and to be honest, like, I spoiler alert for the video, I don't agree with Stephen Shoemaker. I believe that he's being a little too generous with the sources.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what the video is about. um, so yeah.
It seems interesting. Seems interesting.
Anyhow, so Moscow was the third Rome. Who dared say that? Somebody said the Moscow was the third Rome. I will end
What's the
you.
second? What's the second round?
Constantinople.
Well, then, yeah, Moscow is the third round, no?
How? Moscow is it's barely a town.
Hey, what are you talking about, dude? Actually, no, no, no. I'm confusing it with St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg was the imperial capital for a very long time.
Well, that's true, but no, that would mean that Russia is the third Rome. It's not the third Rome. The
No,
Ottoman Empire was the third Rome.
no, it's the second Rome.
No, the second Rome is the Byzantine Empire.
Oh, then no, of course. What are you talking about? The Ottomans have a way better claim. Way
Yeah,
better claim, of course.
Moscow is like, Russia has no claim to call themselves Romans in any way. They're barbarians. Sorry if any Russians are
Hey,
watching.
what are you doing, dude? You're very selective with this whole.
Racism thing.
Yeah. What the hell?
I know, I know. Like today, Persian Poetics, he posted a quote that, like, in Farsi, instead of saying no pain, no gain, they say that if you want a peacock, you have to travel to India. Uh, and I said, well, imagine having to go to India. It sounds awful. And then people were like taking it seriously. They were like, oh, you were living in India this 10 years ago. Just no, not 10 years ago, like a few decades ago, you would be living in India yourself. And I'm like, well, I'm Pakistani. We have this sort of a banter thing, racism thing going back and forth with India. Uh, but people don't get it. Like,
Mm, I get it, man. Okay. Do you see any good questions? I feel like there aren't great questions
yeah,
today.
because yeah. Mm,
Come on, guys.
Russia became the seat of Orthodox power. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make it the third Rome.
Yeah.
Married the niece of the last emperor of Constantinople.
Come on. We're getting desperate here.
Yeah, didn't Mehmed also marry someone like the granddaughter of a previous emperor or something? Mehmed also did that. It doesn't
Um,
make you. Mehmed
I
did
don't know
marry,
about
like,
that. But I know Uzun Hasan from the
oh yeah.
Kuyunlu. He
Mhm.
married some chick from Trebizond, which was
Yep, yep, yep,
basically
yep.
the Byzantine Empire.
And then from her, like, the Ismail came, right? Like,
Yes,
Ismail
very
is
good.
related to them, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a grandmother, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah, Ismail
Yeah,
comes from them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there was this interesting idea I read somewhere that um, that you can actually sort of connect pretty much a lot of Indians
Mm.
with like that part of the world, because then Ismail, one of Ismail's descendants, a princess, was married to a Nawab in India.
Okay.
Um, so you can also, like, a lot of people who connect to that Nawab can actually like have some sort of ties with Ismail and then the emperors of Trebizond and then all the way to the Roman Empire. So
Dude,
that's
that's actually
interesting.
one really interesting topic is how it wasn't right at the beginning. It was after Humayun. Um, how a bunch of Persian immigrants went
Hmm.
to India. Um, and I think that made a really big difference on Mughal history. I need to do a little bit more research on it because if I remember correctly, I think it was a good number of people. Um,
Yeah,
like objectively, it wasn't like a really massive number of people, but they had a lot of human capital, so to speak. Like they were
yeah,
administrators, the artists, artisans, and artists, and apparently
and
they made.
also
Go on.
they also like gave a lot of Shia influence to the Mughal
Yes,
Empire,
I heard
and
about
it's they're the reason. There was this guy, I think he was at Akbar's court, who
that.
was like the first major Shia in India, and
Mm,
it's because of like he started sort of these brought these Shia festivities and days to India, which was quite interesting, which can be like traced to him.
mm,
So yeah, the Persians were called Khanzads in India,
mm,
and there was this. Eventually, I think that this shift can even be seen today, in which you have these upper caste Muslims who are of a lighter skin than lower caste Muslims. And part of the reason is because upper caste Muslims, a lot of them are descended from Khanzads, the Persians, and from the actual Mongols, the Mughals. And for Central Asians, so there's this sort of a caste difference that can still be seen today. And we were talking about like uh, the Pakistani president. Who are you talking about? Well, anyhow, the Punjabi versus Bengali,
mm. Yeah,
that
yeah,
so partly because of that, because of this sort of an upper and lower caste Muslims. The lower caste Muslims were the locals, Indians who converted to Islam, and upper caste Muslims were like sort of these Persians and Mongols and stuff came from outside.
yeah, dude. That's one thing that I find crazy with the subcontinent. With the subcontinent, even today, I know somebody that spent a little bit of time in Bangladesh, and because that person was a little bit lighter, she got treated differently. That's
Mhm.
crazy. Uh,
Mhm.
that's insane.
Somebody, it was from this channel about African American history,
Mm,
and somebody made the point that in almost all countries, people of darker skin are treated differently. And I was thinking that that's pretty much true for all the countries I know, like in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in India, in parts of Arabia, like all these. This thing is true for a lot of the world, and that's
it's,
there's a big divide between these.
it's a bit crazy, you know. I
Mhm.
I can't really wrap my head around that too much because of diversity, like human. I'm not talking about modern liberal diversity, but like just human natural biodiversity. Like, why did that distinction come about in the first place?
It's not what. Why are some people lighter skinned and what are some people dark skinned? That's what you're saying.
No, like why are some people putting a value judgment on lighter skin
Yeah,
being?
because this is bullshit. Not all beauty standards are biological. Beauty standards change all the time, and I think that we just sort of adjust to it. Like, oh, big butts are in fashion. Why are they in fashion? Because I don't know. They signify bigger birthing hips or whatever, and so a more fertile woman or whatever. But all these things, they come and go. Like there was a time when tiny penises were in fashion, and
Really?
yeah, in like Rome and stuff. That's the reason that those statues have like tiny peepees.
No, that's because they're flaccid, though. Syawish.
Dude, don't tell on yourself right now. Don't Let's not discuss that. I'm just
Well,
saying that beauty standards change from time to time.
No, they do, but we have to be a little bit careful. You can't just throw away that rationale of wide hips for birthing is good. That's ridiculous. No, no, that's a very legitimate, very solid consideration. But
It's
no, but that's my point about the skin tone. What what does that signify? I don't get it. Okay, you're darker. Why can you make a value judgment on a person based on them being darker?
yeah, the thing, the birthing hip thing. I personally think that it's true that a wider birthing hip is better for having babies, and
If anything, a lighter person they can get burnt in the sun. A darker person they don't get burnt in the sun, so they're superior. No,
yeah,
from that.
also a lighter skinned person is more indoorsy, not exactly sort of a biological trait that you want to pass on to your children. You want people who go out and who work and stuff like that.
Mm.
You don't want somebody like me who just stays in all the time. So
Which is funny because you're getting darker the longer I know you.
dude, everybody's saying that.
Mm. Go ahead.
um Everybody's saying that. I have no idea why that is.
You need to get some vitamin D in your life.
Dude, I have a lot of vitamin D in my life.
Mm.
That's not the thing. I just my color is shifting for some reason. um I don't know why it is, but it's I feel like it's racist for me to even be concerned about that.
Can you imagine you go back to Punjab and people start getting racist towards you because they think you're Bengali or something? You're like
Dude,
some
no, everybody there looks like me.
yeah. But Punjabis are interesting. Punjabis can be quite light as well.
Yeah, dude, I know. I have a friend here who, well, actually, I'm gonna meet her later in the day too. But everybody confuses her for being white because of how light skinned she is, and she has like no um Pashtun DNA or anything. She doesn't know any Pashtun people, but still, she's very light skinned.
Oh no way. And she's Punjabi?
Yep.
Okay. Because that's the first place my mind went to is she's probably Pakhtun.
Yeah,
Or Pakistan.
she's not. So yeah, there's Punjabis can be quite light skinned as well.
Interesting.
Why would you want children to go out and work in the sun? We're talking about ruling elites, aren't we? True, but like we're talking about like biological reasons, right? You would want to mate with someone. It's a more desirable trait for evolution and biology for a person to go out and work and become stronger, right? Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas, like, we're not talking about like today in like this civilized society of ruling and stuff. We're talking about like if these biological traits they come from like our caveman era rather than today.
Mm.
Yeah, this is light skin implies that you spend most of your days indoor, which is yeah, in today's world definitely.
Oh wow. Lighter skin tone was a historical indication that a person didn't have to work in the field, thus higher status. No way. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. I
yeah,
need to
that's
check
definitely
that out
true.
now.
I mean, it was actually Salon who told me that if you had like a prince walking outdoors and like the commoners, you would likely be able to tell that he's royalty because his, well, like everything, the clothing and stuff aside, he would be definitely be lighter skinned because he doesn't have to work out in the fields. Um, and so probably he would be lighter skinned because of that. And that's sort of the thing. If you look at like our part of the world, largely the not only were royalty light skinned compared to an upper caste people are light skinned, lighter skinned than lower caste people, but also our perception of royalty is light skinned. Have you ever seen photos of the Sikh gurus?
I have, yes. What about him?
They look so white in those photos. They look like they look very, very light skinned,
They look
right?
cool, light skinned. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a perception. Like these are fictional photos. These are photos that were created by someone.
Mm.
But even their perception, because the gurus are like these exalted people, they have to be light skinned. They cannot be dark skinned because of that.
Mm. It's
So yeah.
interesting. Any questions?
So yeah, what were we talking about before the skin stuff?
Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Liberation War.
We're also talking about Ismail, right? Something about Ismail.
Ismail, yeah, descendant of Despina Hatun from Trebizond.
Do you want to touch this? Do you think a decline in religiosity will occur in the Middle East akin to what we've seen in Western Europe? We've talked
Uh,
about this before, right?
I feel like I feel so, yeah, maybe,
Because this is a very, very common question. A lot of people ask this.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do I think? I think there's a chance. I do think there's a chance of that happening. I think that chance is predicated on, let's call it material progress. If there is a huge jump in material progress and prosperity, then yeah, a similar process could take place. I would highly recommend whoever's listening or whoever's in control of that process to not allow that to happen, because I think that would be terrible for everybody. The same
Mhm.
way it's been terrible for Western Europe as well, and it will continue being terrible, and it will even get worse than this. Um, but in general, I think the Middle East stands a better chance than Western Europe in standing up to the decline of religiosity. Islam is like, it's kind of difficult to put this into words, um, but Islam's a little different to Christianity. It's more. I don't want to say anything that offends Christians. Muslims just take it more seriously. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Muslims take Islam way more seriously than Christians take Christianity. And I mean, if you look at Islam, I'm not going to sit here and profess to be an expert on Christianity, but if you look at Islam, dude, it's quite a comprehensive package, if I may say so. Like, damn near every aspect of life is accounted for. And I know for the ordinary layman and woman, they they'll never have that kind of time in the day to kind of sit down and see, okay, what does Islam say about this micro detail? What does it say about that? But you go schools of jurisprudence, fiqh, and all of that. They'll be able to package it for the ordinary person. Um, but yeah, it's just really, really comprehensive and holistic. Like, the economy, okay, we figured that out. Rules for war, yep, we know about that. Rules for the environment, whether in peacetime or in wartime. The rights of animals in peacetime or in wartime. The rights of women, the rights of men, the rights of children, the rights of old. Like, it's all kind of there for you. It's a very, me personally, I know it's ridiculous for me to say unbiased, but even from an unbiased point of view, it's a very impressive um, package of Islam. What the hell is happening in the background?
Dude, I live in downtown, and there's like a lot of fire trucks and police and stuff like that. There's always stuff happening here. Dude,
But
I
yeah,
live in, yeah, I don't live in like you in like, I don't know, white America where the rent is like $300 a year.
mm,
I live in the city, bro.
fair enough, man. But like I was
Mhm.
saying, a decline in religiosity, I don't think it will happen in the Middle East. And if it does happen, we should all be very scared. Which is hilarious, because recently I'm getting a lot of comments on my videos. I don't know why the hell I'm attracting this kind of demographic, but their answer to the problems taking place in the Middle East, oh, just get rid of religion, specifically Islam. No, 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 no. Like, you think things are bad now? I Let's not do this experiment, because that would be very psychopathic. But if we were to do some sort of an experiment where we take religion out of the equation, dude, it would be mayhem. It would be absolute bedlam. I wouldn't come close to the Middle East until that problem is solved, because that's just messed up.
I personally think that yeah, if there's material prosperity, then yeah, Islam would sort of lose ground in the Middle East and in like rest of the Islamic world as prosperity comes in. Because frankly, and this is not like a comment on religion, this is a comment on people. When you have a state, you start to lose belief in God because you feel like you don't need God. Um,
Wait.
that's
Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. That's quite interesting. I want to pick you up on that. Say that again, please. When you have a
I'm saying
state,
that as material prosperity comes in,
all right?
you feel like you don't need God, and so you begin to
No,
move
no,
away.
no, no, no. That I agree with, but you didn't say that. You said something about the state. You said,
But yeah, when you have a state that's acting like sort of this, web on top of you,
all right.
you start to move away from God in that way, right? So that's part of the reason that you have, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That as material prosperity keeps coming in, or at least comes in, Islam would definitely lose ground in the Middle East. Plus, with all this, um, like internet and stuff, people are talking about these things, and so there are a lot of people. But then again, there's also the fact that a lot of like these non-religious Muslims from the East are moving to the West. So you have, like, I think that the ratio of religious to non-religious people in the Middle East, in Pakistan and stuff, is relatively the same,
Mm,
because most, like a lot of non-religious people, they end up moving abroad. So there's also that factor, but there's also the factor that a lot of people, when they become, when they will not reap the fruits of prosperity, so they will indeed be stuck in
yeah.
this thing. That being said, it's also more of a commentary on capitalism, because if prosperity comes in now to the East, to the Middle East, it'll be in during the stages of late capitalism.
Mm,
And so you're going to end up with this awful state, because the time when capitalism was actually good, we didn't have capitalism here, and now capitalism is terrible. So I don't think prosperity is actually going to come to this part of the world, in the same way, at least, that it came to Western Europe back in the day. So
mm.
mm,
Yeah. And even if it was to happen, the small chance of possibility that I would give it, I think it would need to take a very long time. Like in
mhm,
other context, a long time,
yeah.
talking like 100 years, because it's not even like the really big obvious things that people go to, like the politics and whatnot. It's like small things on the ground, like in most well, not in most, but in a lot of Middle Eastern Muslim countries, the mosque is the hub of the social life, so to speak, right? So like Jummah prayers, obviously from a religious point of view, it's good to do Jummah prayers and whatnot. But Jummah prayers is a great excuse to socialize with
Mhm.
the brethren, you know. So how are you going to undermine that? You're going to need to undermine that if there's going to be a decline in religiosity. Also, public holidays, Eid, like Eid is the biggest day in most thingy countries, right? How are you going to undermine that, right? Because every time there's an Eid, like that's going to be a bulwark against the decline in religiosity. Do you see what I'm saying?
Wait,
Uh,
sorry, not necessarily.
what?
You have Easter here in the West, you have Christmas here in the West. Both of them are Christian holidays. That doesn't mean that, people look at them and be like, "Oh, why are we Christians?
Right,
Why
right.
aren't we
But my,
Christians
my
anymore?"
point is my point is not that you won't be able to get rid of them. I think there is a chance you can, but my point is you will have to. In order for you to bring about a decline in religiosity, you're going to have to confront these things in the same way that the West did by diluting the value of Easter. I don't even know when the hell Easter is. Sometimes I have to think to myself, what the hell is Easter? Right? Because the first thing that comes to my head is bunnies. I don't know why. First of all, what the hell does
You
bunnies?
you don't know why?
What does bunnies have to do with Easter again?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know.
There
It's
you go.
about Jesus. I know that
What
bunnies are,
the hell has
yeah,
Jesus
they're,
got to do with bunnies, right?
yeah. To
But
be
see,
honest,
that's my
yeah.
point. Is you're gonna have to address
Okay,
that.
here's where I think the connection comes from. I think
Oh,
the connection comes from the fact that you have bunnies.
right.
Bunnies. Well, okay, you have Jesus.
All I know is that bunnies
Catholics.
procreate like crazy, and spring. I know that Easter is around spring. I don't know what day. I feel like it's
April.
April. It's in April, yeah. Okay, I don't know which day, but April is spring, as spring is always throughout human history been connected to fertility and just like life coming again, so to speak. That's the only connection I can make. But I don't know what the
Also,
hell.
there's another connection. We have Jesus.
Okay,
Catholics love Jesus,
okay.
and Catholics like to procreate reproduce like bunnies. So there's, I
Do
think
they?
that's the connection.
Do they?
Yeah, Catholics are like ridiculous. There's
No, but
this
that's only relative to Protestants. Protestants are crazy, dude. Protestants have like 1.5 kid in their lifetime, like on average for a nation. That's crazy, man.
dude. We talked about this last time. I actually wanted to bring this up.
Okay.
What do you know what the birth rate of an average couple is, average woman is in the US?
I don't. I'm not gonna lie.
It's 1.7.
Hmm.
What is the average birth rate of people of what is the average rate of children that people want to have?
Is it higher?
That's 2.7. There's an entire kid missing,
Oh
and
wow.
that's where capitalism comes in. The
Ah,
replacement rate is of course 2.1, right?
yeah.
We were talking about it. You said that there's, it's a matter of priorities. It's not a matter of priorities. People want to have more kids, but they cannot afford to have more kids. That's the problem.
Okay, well, you just added a new piece of information, which was quite interesting. I'm gonna double check that and think about it some more in the next few days. But I would still stand by what I said. Come on, like, dude,
It's about capitalism. It's a problem with
dude,
capitalism. You cannot.
you're making 50, 60K a year. Your wife's making 30, 40K a year, and you're telling me that you can, with a combined salary of 100, 110 pre-tax, fair enough. I know post-tax that's going to be different. What, you can only manage to have 1.7 kid?
Dude, if I do the math with you,
Go on.
at the moment, I make around 110K.
Okay.
I honestly don't think that I can have a kid at this salary.
Wait, what?
This apartment that I live in, it's 2 bedrooms,
Yeah.
and based on like the expenses that I have right now, I don't have a kid.
All right.
And the amount of savings that I make, I really don't think that I can have a kid. It's
On
about
a
it's about
hundred, hold on. On 110,000 salary yearly, yeah? This is
yeah,
pre-tax or post-tax?
this is pre-tax.
Okay.
But if you include a
You
wife
can't
who
have a
doesn't,
single kid?
you also have to have a wife with a kid, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Unfortunately. So you have you have a wife who doesn't work, you have a kid who doesn't work. That three people, or let's say two and a half people on 110K, not really feasible at the moment. Like if I have actually done the math.
Wait, you've actually done that? Because I was just gonna say, Syawish, I think you need to do the maths for
I
that.
have done
Can
the
you,
math.
okay, can you, without going into too much detail, okay, uh, just break it down for me, just like big chunks of numbers, okay? How is that possible? I don't understand. What is it? What is the expenditure of a kid going to be so high that 110K pre-tax will prevent you from having one?
Do you have any idea of, first of all, how much a diaper costs, how much like
Okay, no, but
pediatricians cost?
my brother, you laid this whole plan out for me as if you've done all the research. I
I have.
haven't. Okay, I'm bro sciencing my way through this. Okay, so break it down for me. How much does a diaper cost?
Dude, I have the sheet here. Actually,
You made a sheet.
I have a spreadsheet of the whole thing. This would
Do you know how hilarious this is, by the way?
dude, it's like, I think this is gonna take too much time. I will send you the sheet and we'll talk about
Yeah,
this
please send me the sheet.
privately.
You know
Yeah,
what took even
privately.
more time for you to sit down and do this in the first place? But fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, no, but right now we're sort of on public time rather than our time.
True.
So yeah.
But dude,
You
hope
can't.
you
Sorry,
appreciate.
sorry.
Wait.
You can't have a wife and kid on 110 income. I can't. Where do I live? I live in Vancouver. That's the goddamn problem. I live in Canada. Everything's on fire in Canada. Have you ever been to Canada? It's fucking expensive as hell. But then again, every place is expensive as hell these days.
Every place is becoming expensive. Man. I watched this
Exactly.
messed up video online. I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's funny, man. It's fine. There was a Ukrainian refugee. I forgot in which city, but he was in Canada, and he was just complaining about the quality of life there. Like, I escaped a war zone to come here, and now I spend my whole day working. I rent out a terrible place that I hate. I'm sleep deprived. I'm tired. I got no time to meet friends or have a social life and whatnot. And at the end of the video, they said, "You know what? Screw this. I'm gonna move back to Ukraine." I don't know if they were just bantering, but it made me crack up. That a person
Yeah,
from a war zone wants to go back there to escape the high cost of living in Canada.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like honestly, I think about, like, I have a full-time job and I have a YouTube channel, so I have like all these things, and people have families here. I know like a lot of Punjabis um who are living here and their wife is like full-time raising children, and I'm like, how are you doing that? And the way that they're doing that is because they have two jobs. They drive a taxi in their free time, and they have like they work at a restaurant or something. So yeah, they're trying to bring in a lot of money, and yet there's a lot of these people, and at the end of the day, it's also about savings. Do you have any savings? The quality of life, can you go afford to go on a vacation, stuff like that? um, it's ridiculous.
I can't even wrap my head around it. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what politicians are thinking about. It's to me, it's kind of crazy that this problem, the cost of living crisis problem, whatever, is not being prioritized. Almost like if it was up to me in my world, you should prioritize this as if you're fighting a war to the death. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a financial expert. I'm not an economist. I'm definitely not a prophet that can read the future. But I know this is not going to end up well. Like I don't know what's going to happen that's going to be so bad. But I just know some really, really bad things are going to happen as a result of this. Crazy,
Yeah,
man.
dude. I look at the U.S. and I think, okay, the U.S. has a lot of issues. It's military industrial complex is there. It's sort of the guard of the world, so it has like a lot of expenses like military. Okay, that's where their money is going. What about Canada?
Mm,
Where does so much money? Where's all this money going? I once did the math
mm,
on when I became a citizen in this country. Not a citizen, sorry. When I received my permanent residence, over the course of like 3 months, I spent around $2,700 in this country just to sort of prepare and file out the applications and all that to become permanent resident. And in that week, 1,000 people received, in that week alone, 1,000 people received their invitation to apply. And let's say that all of them spent $2,500. That's like 2.5 million or something
mm.
dollars, and like that's every week. There's a lot of money that is coming in just from this, and that's not the only source of income for them, obviously. So where's Canada's money going? You have this huge country that's empty.
Mm.
You have this country that has a lot of energy. It has a lot of like electricity. You have a lot of that. You have oil, all that. All you need to do is you need to build more cities, spread them out, and build like trains in between them so that people can transit. Like in Germany, you can live 30 minutes from Vancouver,
Mm.
and you can just transit in the morning with a train. Like that,
Mm.
that should be the case, but I don't know what is going on. This huge country, a lot of wood, and they don't have enough houses. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the to be fair, the UK having a housing crisis in terms of not having enough houses, that make even that's a bit crazy because there is land. There definitely is land. They just don't want to build there. It's called like green zones or whatever the hell, green belt. But Canada, dude, have you seen Canada on a map? Like I get it, most of the north or most of the country, to be honest, is like icy Arctic tundra conditions, but there's still a lot of land to
Yep. If you leave Vancouver for
mm,
around 1,200 kilometers across the border,
mm.
there's not a single major town. There's
Well,
1,200 kilometers of livable land, perfectly fine land
oh,
that
no way.
has like very
What,
little
to
these.
the east of Vancouver towards like Calgary and stuff?
Yeah, towards that way. When you
Okay.
go like 1,200 kilometers, there's nothing there. Like
Damn.
right next to the border. Why is no one building there? Why is like this? It's ridiculous that there's this country that has so much oil and so much money and so many things, and then they don't have the resources to like.
I'm not a an economist, and I don't really know about Canada that much. But I know one thing. I was watching a video. To be fair, I feel like it's a problem most of the Western world is having, and apparently Australia is really suffering from this too. All the supermarkets are owned by like two or three companies in Canada,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, and I forgot why, but
Yeah,
apparently big problem.
we joke about how in Canada you don't have a government, you have two um, telecommunication companies that are running everything. Because yeah, that's sort of the telecommunication is a big thing because your cell phone bill is famously very high in Canada, because of how the whole structure is laid out. And there are these two companies that are consuming all these bigger, smaller companies, and so there's this whole thing going on. But yeah, there's consolidation is a big part of that. The lack of competition. Competition was the only good thing about capitalism, and that has pretty much been killed.
Mm.
Um, so that yeah, all of it is the fault of capitalism. You can if you can easily solve a lot of these problems if you just dissolve capitalism a little bit. Bring some communism in, like people living on communes. I would like that.
No, but that wouldn't work, man.
Why not? It would be so chill. You
It
wouldn't have to
would.
worry about.
No, but that's the problem. That's why it's unrealistic. Humans are not good with chill. Humans are stuck in this perennial conflict between chaos and calm, right? You can't ever, please, for the love of God, don't just get stuck on chaos because that would be terrible. But you also can't get stuck on calm either.
Who said that?
What?
Where is it written that humans are stuck between the humans like want chaos or whatever?
No, 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 no. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't put words in my mouth. I never said want. It's
Sorry.
just the nature of life. Like, if you're designing a video game, right?
Hmm.
And you're putting in principles of how that world will like act and the kind of uh prompts and things of that nature, then yeah, I think what's so surprising about what I said? I didn't read that anyway. It's just basic observation. Like
Yeah, it's
either,
wrong.
huh?
It's basic. It's basic observation, but it's wrong.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Wait, what's wrong
It's
exactly?
the idea that humans are not good with chill. That's not
No,
true.
you can't have. No, see, you can't have 150 years of chill. You'll lose your mind. And not only that, to be fair, it's a bit of a nonsensical thing for me to say, even though I'm 100% sure about, or 99.9% sure about this, because life, remember that analogy I just gave you? If you're creating like a game, life won't allow you to chill for 150 years. Because even if humans decide, you know what, we're going to have perfect fiscal conditions, everyone's going to be responsible, no one's going to wage war on each other, there's going to be natural disasters. Like, there's going to be things. Like, that's the whole purpose of life on Earth, is that like crazy things happen, you react to them and you survive, the name of the game, but you use those crazy things to improve and get better than you were before. Like that's all life is. It's just a constant vacillation between, oh, golden age, damn, it's the dark ages, golden age, dark ages, golden age. Those things take happen over a course of 6, 8, 900 years. But which is one reason why I think modernity is really, really weird, because it doesn't happen over 6, 900 years. It happens over the course of 70, 80 years, which is really fast and not healthy, I don't think. But no, that's the, yeah. Wait, you haven't observed that in human history?
Honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What do you mean? Okay.
I didn't understand what you were saying. But anyhow, what I'm saying is not that you need to have chill, just chill. You have governments.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's not going to be
okay.
sustainable. You can't have chill.
Why not? Why not?
It's because of what I just said to you. There's going to be natural disasters that are going to require a
What
response. If, huh?
they require response from the government.
People forget governments. So your brain is too politicized. I'm talking about this from like a behavioral anthropology point of view. Governments are people, okay, whatever. People, they're going to require a response from people, okay. If you are in a state of calm and chill for 100 years, it's going to soften your instincts. You're not gonna be as efficient and effective as at responding to problems if you're just in calm mode for 70, 80 years. That's not how things work. The people who are best placed, most well placed to react to things like that are people who have unfortunately experienced a little bit of chaos in their life and they've come out on the other side of it. The hell? You're just
I've
going to
no
be
idea what
happy.
I've no idea what you're saying, to be honest.
What do you mean? It's very
let's
obvious.
let's let's move to a super chat we got.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I got. Um,
Hey, hey, hey. Remember,
so yeah, the Bengal Sultanate and the Nawabs of Bengal were huge in the spread of Islam in the region. True, they fought the Marathas, even the British first. They did. They lost with the British, but yeah, the Bengal Sultanate is very interesting. I think that we don't teach about it enough, and I'm also guilty of that because I haven't made a video about them.
same.
Um, but they were like this sort of an amalgamation of Islam and Hinduism.
Hmm.
When a sultan of Bengal would ascend to the throne, he would actually go and take a dip in the Ganga or the Ganges River, which is a very Hindu tradition, but they would do that. So there's a lot of like sort of mix between the two cultures there, and that was part of the reason that Pakistanis sort of look at them and say, "Oh, these guys are not real Muslims." But those were certainly very interesting sultanates, and I do intend on making videos on them. But to be honest, I'm at least these days I'm sort of occupied just thinking about early Islam,
Hmm.
and I cannot be bothered to make videos about these things. Like Fatimids are on my list. I haven't made a video about them. Um, so yeah, there's that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. I would echo the same sentiments as you. I haven't made a video on the Bengal Sultanate, which is kind of annoying because, and this always shocks me. They were incredibly prosperous. They like a big chunk. So you know that fact that loads of people rehash that in the year 1700, the Mughal Empire accounted for 25%, I think, of the world's GDP, something like that. Apparently, if you broke that down further, the majority, remember, majority means more than 50%. The majority of that came from the Bengal, which is crazy. Which that low key kind of means that 10% of the world's GDP was flowing in and out of, if not the Bengal, like Bengal, Bay of Bengal, that kind of area. So
Yeah,
that's very fascinating.
yeah, that's because of it was in no smart part because of Murshid Quli Khan, who
Ah,
was Aurangzeb's governor in the region, and he did a lot of good stuff. But also because the rest of India, to be honest, was not in the best state under Aurangzeb. In the year 1700, Aurangzeb had been in the Deccan for like 10 years. He was focused on a war that he was no close to winning. Um,
longer.
yeah, no, he went there in 1689, didn't he? Or was it 1683?
No, but Golconda was way before that. Not way before, sorry. Golconda was
Gol-
1686, no?
16
86, no? Let me double check.
When did he leave Delhi to fight his the Rajput rebellion? Was that in 1681? I
I don't
think.
know about that one
Yeah. Okay,
specifically.
you're right. Actually, yeah, it was closer to 20 years at the time.
And
And
even the
in his
Marathas and Shivaji, that was in the early 1680s, like a
yeah,
little
that
bit of
was
it.
that was before Aurangzeb came to the Deccan, though. Um,
Yeah,
but
and to
yeah.
be fair, actually, I'm conflating Maharashtra and the Deccan, but they're very close, so whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, at the time he was in the Deccan, and he had left India, like North India, to its own devices for like 20 years,
Yeah.
and so a lot of it had declined in that part in that time. So yeah, and it was Bengal at the time was like this, and today in Pakistan we have a saying that you're not worth two takas,
Mm.
um, which you might know that saying as well.
What?
You don't?
Taka?
Two takas, like do taka.
No, I know what it is. Yeah, roughly, but it just
Yeah,
means like, very valuable, right?
very valueless. Like this thing is no not valuable at all.
Yeah.
And taka is the Bengali currency. Like that's their thing. And so like even one of our sayings is disparaging the Bengalis.
Mm.
When we say you're not worth two takas, that means that you're not worth anything. um, so even that also brings that, from Bengal.
Mm.
And at this point, somebody, Nick93 has pointed out the funny thing, because taka is worth more than Pakistani currency. Yeah, exactly. And I'm sort of an advocate of changing the meaning of that to say that you're worth a lot of money. How much is a taka at the moment?
I don't know.
Taka is actually 2.3 Pakistani rupees. It's like more than double of our
Damn.
currency. So yeah, there's like 2 taka is like saying something is double as valuable as it looks. um, so yeah.
It's funny how things work.
Hmm.
Okay. Any other good questions? All right. See, I wish I gotta wrap it up soon. So, because I gotta go and do something.
Actually, I do gotta go as well, because to be honest, I forgot about this live stream, and as soon as I woke up, I started working on the video. And I have this sort of thing where if I have something in my mind from the previous night, I don't have breakfast before I do that thing. So I was gonna finish the video and then have breakfast. And now I'm very hungry. So yeah, we should wrap this up as well.
Yeah. I need to finish up my video in Bangladesh and upload it. Okay. All right, people. Thank you for joining my live stream, my latest edition of my
Your live
podcast.
stream.
I want to say thank you to my guest, Syawish. I would say you were great, but that would be a lie. I think you were decent. You were half decent, you know. And yeah, hopefully we'll do this again soon.
All right. All right. Then in the future, if you want me to come to your podcast, I'm gonna need like a payment structure, because this was really
No,
not
so
worth my time.
fair enough. But the problem is, I don't value your time that much. You don't bring that much to the table. You know what I mean?
I've
So
never.
you're gonna have to keep doing this for free. The funds I will leave for more esteemed guests, which you are not a member of yet. The second that you
Yeah, but
announce your communist ideology, then we can have that conversation. But for now, nah. And plus, you're a
then
communist.
again,
Money. What do you need money for?
but then again, I don't
Yeah.
see people lining up to be on your podcast either. So it's like,
Oh, you don't know about that. No.
you don't have another choice. I
My
don't have
cards
another
close
choice.
to my
It's like,
chest.
it's like that.
What's that Lil Wayne bar?
Um,
Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Yeah, you don't know.
Lasagna is not silent, is it?
Real G's. It's one of the greatest rap bars of all time. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You get it? The G in lasagna.
Oh,
It's
nice. I like that. That's nice. So yeah, we should wrap this up. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay.
This was awful. I'm never gonna do this again with you. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody in the chat who sent in questions and stuff. So yeah, thank you. And I'm gonna finish the stream now and have breakfast because I'm very hungry. Also, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Greyjoy didn't make it to the stream this time. He's actually hiding like right there on top of a couple of boxes because he's just sleepy. So yeah, if you guys want to see him, I can show him to you, but I'm not gonna pick him up. Anyhow, all right.
Okay,
Take care.
people.
Bye.
Pleasure. Take care.